Hey, Cheryl, I am so excited to talk to you about Sex, Lies, and Spray Tans. It's already such a fun podcast, and happy premiere day. Um,
Thank you. This is so exciting. I mean, this is my third podcast. I think this one is the easiest. It just rolls off the tongue. Any Dancing with the Stars talk, it's been a part of my life for almost half my life. I can't believe it.
yeah, and you have so many good behind the scenes nuggets of what really goes on. And so there may be viewers that have watched the show forever, but don't know these behind the scenes
Yeah.
stories. What are they going to be surprised by?
And that's like you just nailed it. Like honestly, this is the reason why I wanted to do it because like it could have either gone to the catty side, which it's not by any means, or it's more of like the behind the scenes that we owe to the fans. Because I do believe that the fans also have their own conspiracy theories, but that's only because there's only a 2 hour live show without the result show like we had in the past. But you only get to see a little tiny glimpse of the celebrity, let alone the chemistry between the celebrity and the pro, which is a shame. And I've always said this that we should have done like a Dancing with the Stars after dark, like after the live show, you know. And so this is what this is basically. And this is like, with all due respect, as far as like my relationship with the show, this is not because of anything. And I don't want anyone to write anything about the fact that, oh, I'm doing this because I'm not angry. Like I love the show, and I believe we owe it to the fans, the new ones and the ones that have been a part of this journey with us for the few decades we've been doing it, and that continues. So think of this like a rewatch, though the show's still going on. But if I were to wait till this show, if it ever gets canceled, I doubt that it will. It finishes, then we want to know the tea and we want to know it now. And I'm not the one answering these questions. I'm just asking the questions. So I can't get in trouble.
Yeah, I feel like that's what fans love about the show. They like to see the chemistry between the dancer and the star and be like, oh, is there more to that story? Is there not? And I'm sure sometimes there is,
Yes.
and sometimes
Yes.
there isn't. You
Yep. And
say that,
I asked Max Schmarkowski this question. It's like, who do you think falls in love first? Is it the celebrities or the pros? And he has his reasoning. And then we also do fire rapid like questions at the end. And like Max sometimes just gets himself in a pickle as he does and talks too much. And I was like, okay, I even prepped him. I said, this is just a one word answer. This is one of your partners, and that's it. And then he just continues to explain himself. So it makes it for really a great episode, to be quite honest. I wasn't going to stop him, but like I asked him questions like, if you could go back in time, who's the one celebrity partner you would apologize to? Who was the most talented? Who do you think should have won? Who did you have the most chemistry with? Would you be okay with never seeing again? Then he answers it, but he was sweating. It's hard.
well, now I have to ask you, was there a star partner that you had that you
No.
had the most chemistry with?
Oh goodness. Well, chemistry doesn't always mean like you have the hots for, right? Like, but like I would say Gilles and I had the best chemistry on the dance floor for sure.
Hmm. You say that it's the podcast is going to spill about the affairs, the flirting, the fighting.
Now, that was someone else's voice. I don't know who that was. I'm kidding. I'm
um,
kidding. I'm kidding.
so there was never a flirtation for you behind the scenes of the
Oh
show?
my God, absolutely there was. Oh, for sure. 100%. I mean, how can you not? Like especially for as long as I've been on the show. Like this is the thing. The celebrities that come on that don't have dance experience, I mean, not one person has had ballroom experience. It's very intimate, right? It's like Max said it best. This is like summer camp for adults. And whether you have just gotten engaged and you're coming from the Bachelor Nation, whole thing, or if you are married, or even if you are in relationships, like that person who's not on the show, it's interesting because you have to be vulnerable if you want to do well. Both parties, both the pro and the celebrity. Like if you come into the rehearsal space, you say you want to win and you have talent, absolutely. Like this is going to consume you. There comes a time where, even these athletes, these professional athletes who are so macho, right? Like first of all, they don't care who's coaching them. They love being coached. And this is why I've always said I prefer dancing with athletes because they're great students. They go home, they think about it, they come back, and then you can layer it. Like you can make them better because they don't have questions about what's next, the choreography, because they're so trained. But also, what's amazing about them is that they're willing to fail because that doesn't bruise their ego. So it's interesting just to understand like the personality types, learning about like, and adjusting the way that, that's the challenge for us pro dancers. We have to make our celebrity look good. It's not about us, right? I don't even know what your question was, but at the end of the day, there's a lot that goes on. Okay. It's just so much.
Yeah, and that gives a lot to talk about for the podcast.
Yes.
So with this podcast, you're going back and watching some old seasons, old episodes. What's the
Black
season
and
you're
white. It's literally like black and white. I feel like season 2 or season 1 when I was watching Trista and Louis' ponytail, that alone was black and white. That was crazy.
and that was very close to your beginning on season 2. So as you kind of look back down memory lane, is there a season you're most excited to revisit and least excited to revisit?
I honestly, because we're not even doing it like in chronological order, I just, whenever just my producer texts me who our next guest is, I just get so excited because it's not just the season. I'm really like doing research on the person, and we don't just talk dancing. We also talk about like prior to Dancing with Stars, why they were even asked on to the show and their initial reaction, their expectation. Like for Adam Rippon, for example, he had a short season. He only did it for a month. And, I asked him, would he ever do it? Like he goes, I had just the perfect taste of like, because he's heard horror stories of like 2 dances a week. And then like the shows get longer and then the music gets longer. And he had like a mini version of Dancing with the Stars. So and it's just interesting to get their take because for people who didn't do well, even for Trista though, for example, she still had an amazing time. It changed her. Like honestly, it changed her into the woman she is today, or a part of it.
Yeah, even being the first one to leave the show, it makes a huge impact on you, just being able to do it
Yeah.
in the first place.
Because I asked her, I said, like, they were the guinea pigs. If she were to do it again, obviously, with watching the show, let's say she joined season 3, would she still have these like weird feelings about like, grinding on another person, knowing that this was the challenge? Because she had nothing to compare it to. If you think about it, she had a really hard, that was hard to not have anything compare like your experience to anything else. It must be really difficult.
Is there a dream guest that you really want to have on?
Zendaya.
Right, that would be
I
great.
can't believe she did it, and I can't believe she didn't win. What a freaking wrong call that was.
Would you say she's the most robbed star, or are there other
No, Juan
people?
Pablo de Pache, my partner, is the most robbed. We got 60 out of 60. We didn't make the final. That's horrible.
It's a heartbreak.
It still is, and it will be forever. I keep thinking to myself, wait, so not one person voted? Not one? Not one. I swear I voted for us, but it's okay.
Well, we were so sad to see you go last season, but of course, after just such an incredible run, you've said that that was a really tough decision to make. As you were weighing it, what were the pros and cons, and how did you ultimately land on the choice you did to say goodbye at that time?
Wow, that's a great question. You know, I believe that growth is a huge part of my life. And after doing so many seasons in the same position at the same job title, though it's an amazing, and I'm so grateful for that time, it's important for me to grow. And, whether that's within the company or not, that is, obviously that part's not up to me, but for me what's up to me is that I believe that I deserve to be to evolve just like any other human being. And when I start to feel that feeling of being stagnant, and doing the same job over and over again, it's I can't, I would be doing the show a disservice. I would be doing the person who wants my job a disservice. Like at the end of the day, I feel like what else is there to prove? Like there's really nothing for me to, other than just like feeling like I'm an autopilot, which is, I don't like to live my life like that, which hence why I made all these huge changes in my life this past year that maybe a normal person would say maybe just one out of the 3 would happen. But I moved, I divorced, 2 different like situations, where the show was really hard. And then my ex-husband, like, but that's the thing. I no longer feel stagnant. And whether that is, it comes with fear and insecurity and not knowing what's going to happen, but that's life. And that's what makes life exciting. And I realized that I have to continue to challenge my brain. And I wish that would be a part with the family. So if it's not, that's okay too. It's all good. No worries.
I think that's so beautiful because so many people are afraid of change, and it's so clear that you embrace it. Not only
I
that,
mean,
but
I'm afraid. It's scary. And I was afraid, which is why I think I've announced my retirement more than once, like previous seasons, because it is scary. Because you're like, what if, what if, what if? But then I realized, I remember getting the call to do this show. It was the same feeling. It was just as scary, but it was the best decision of my life.
well, fans love that you've really invited them into this evolution of your life and just welcoming this new chapter, both in your career and in your personal life. That candor is really beautiful.
Thank
Um,
you.
about your breakup, what would you say moving forward is like the biggest lesson that you took away from that you're keeping with you as you move on?
Well, I do believe with every breakup or whatever you want to label it, there is a lesson to be learned, as you just asked. And for me, it's really about, first of all, evil just learning about yourself, and accountability is very important to me. And I don't think that I would say that my boundaries were as clear to me back then as they are now. Also, even rewind further back, like, you can't in general set boundaries until you love and respect yourself, point blank. Because, like, yes, you could set boundaries with what you think society expects and what they set boundaries for, but really, if you really are to dig deep, you only know what that is for you once you figure out what your identity is without the outside world defining you. And so that's the tricky part. And I couldn't have learned this unless I was by myself and single like I am today. So, in a way, I feel like sometimes, as two individuals, either you grow not together, but you grow as individuals and you support the growth, or you don't. And it's really that black and white. And you can choose to stay in this, I hope, or I think I can change him or her, and it's never going to happen. Like, you actually cannot change anybody, honestly, other than you. You're stuck with you for the rest of your life. So you better like it, or
Wise
that
words.
person. Yeah. It
Yeah,
I
you
just
said that you're single. I saw on your Burke in the Game podcast, you were talking about getting back into the dating game again. Is that something
and
that
how
you're
good did
pursuing?
that
Have
how
you been
great did
out
that
dating?
work out? No. I mean, I have dated, yes, but I'm not dating anybody seriously to announce it or scream it out loud. No, 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 definitely not. But I think it will happen, and I'm not looking for love, like actively looking. Like, I'm not on a dating app, nor do I plan on being on one, because that's gonna go against my values, morals, and beliefs of finding somebody who, is truly secure from the inside out. Because when you're swiping, as far as I'm concerned, you're judging a book by its cover. Like, I'm so sorry, but that's the opposite of what I'm trying to do, right? Within me first. So if it happens, so be it. I've changed my whole life. So if it's meant to be, it shall be. I'm in a different location. I'm not going to announce where I moved to, but like, it's still in California, and I do feel like it's right. It'll happen. I'm not worried.
I'm not worried either. It'll definitely happen. I know
Thanks.
you're not looking, but what
Yeah.
do you hope that next relationship looks like?
Like, a relationship where the person also finds growth to be something of interest and curiosity in his energy field. You know what I mean? Like, this is the thing, like, the accountability is also a big deal for me that I didn't really know back then. I Transparency is vital. Um, respecting one another's boundaries, but also still like living like two individuals that come together because they choose to be together and not get like so tied up. And a lot of that is I'm taking accountability for that as well, because that's what I thought love was like becoming one. That's bull. Sorry, that's BS. At the end of the day, like, you have to, and I'm learning this, and this is why I say I'm dating myself, because this is important. I have to know what Cheryl's morals, values, and beliefs are before I could actually um, get into another relationship, in order for me to change the pattern, I guess, is my point.
Well, I think that that's really beautiful and
Thank you.
something that everyone can take away.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, it's really deep, but that's who I am. What can I say? I'm no girl to small talk with, so that's for sure.
Well, as you're continuing with this podcast and looking back at just that special past chapter of your life with Dancing with the Stars, you won your first mirror ball when you were 21. That's when you got into this world. And what would you tell that younger version of yourself, knowing what you know now?
Oh my gosh. Enjoy this present moment. Like, try to understand that this life that we live in is so fragile, and just I think that I got so swept away by the anxiety that I forgot that what was happening, whether or not it gave me that feeling, was just this is a special moment today. And it doesn't matter whether you're like here with me now, or if you're at start to right this second is the only second that you can live in, because you worry about the future, it causes anxiety. You worry about the past that has already happened, it causes anxiety. It's like the only thing that leaves you with peace is really staying here, and whatever unfolds in front of you is what unfolds.